Starting in mountain pose, arms by your side. Inhale, lift up over your head. Exhale, palms together, hands to heart. Inhale, lift up, overhead, palms together, hands to heart. Again, inhale, lift up, and this time dive forward to your mat. Hands resting to your mat if you can, walking out into plank position. Navel to spine, flat back, downward facing dog, and plank. Downward facing dog, and plank, keeping your navel pulled in to your spine the whole time. And plank. Again, downward facing dog, and walk those hands into your feet. Roll all the way up to standing. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, diving forward again, hands to your mat. Walking out to plank. Downward facing dog, warming up through those shoulders. And plank. Downward facing dog. And plank. Downward facing dog. Plank. Downward facing dog, walk those hands into your feet. This time flat back, stand all the way up, arms overhead, palms to heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, diving forward. Holding it here for a moment and walk out to plank. Bringing that right knee to your right elbow, knee to your chest, right knee to left elbow. Again, right knee, right elbow, chest and left a little bit quicker. Elbow, chest, elbow, elbow, chest, and elbow. Holding plank. Downward facing dog. Back to plank. Left knee, left elbow. Left knee to your chest. Left knee, right elbow. And quicker. Elbow, chest, elbow, elbow, chest, elbow. Again, keeping that back flat, navel pulled into your spine. Plank. Holding here. Downward facing dog. Coming back to plank. Right knee, right elbow for 4. Right knee to your chest for 4. Right knee, left elbow for 4. And coming back to your plank and hold. Downward facing dog. We're doing that same thing on the other side. Plank, left knee, left elbow for 4. Now to your chest for 4. 3 and 4. Elbow, 2, 3, and 4. Holding plank. Downward facing dog. Walking those hands in all the way to your feet and roll your spine all the way up to standing. Arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, palms to heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, diving forward with a flat back. Holding it here for a moment. Lengthening through the backs of those legs. Bending that right knee, crossing the right foot over the left. Planting the left hand down, reaching the right arm up high. Getting a nice twisted stretch here. That left leg stays long. Release your hand down. Uncross your foot. Forward fold again. And this time bending that left knee, left foot over right. Plant your right hand. Extend your left arm long. Fingertips to the ceiling. Holding it here. Left arm down, uncross the foot, forward fold, going a little bit deeper this time. Walking those hands out into plank, extending your left arm long in front of you and down. Right arm extends long and bring it back down. Dropping those knees down this time, extending that right leg out nice and long, left arm nice and long, and lift up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep lifting. Keep lifting. Up, 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 and hold. Hold, hold, hold. And bringing that hand and foot back down. Extending your left leg long, right arm long, pulse up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep pulsing. Keeping your lower back in neutral spine. Don't arch it. Pulse, pulse, lift, and hold. Hold, hold, hold. Don't drop that leg. And release that arm. Release your knee. Tucking your toes, press back into downward facing dog. Coming down onto your elbows, preparing for dolphin planks. Bringing your hips down and pressing back. Clasping those hands in front of you. And press back and down. Press back. This is a great way to stretch those shoulders and also build strength in them. Coming back to plank, downward facing dog, plank, downward facing dog. Keeping your core tight the entire time. Pressing back and up, lowering it down and lift. You're almost there. Down and hold it for a moment. Hold, hold, hold. And dropping your knees. Coming up onto your toes into downward facing dog. Walking those feet in. Lifting all the way up, arms overhead, bending your elbows. Arching that back slightly. Palms to heart, neutral spine. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bending your elbows, arch your back slightly. Palms to heart. Inhale, lift up. This time, diving it forward to your mat. Forward fold. Bending that left knee, stepping it all the way back to the back of your mat. Hold for a moment. Step back with your right foot into plank. Turning onto that right hand and right foot. Left arm reaches up high. Side plank. Hips stay lifted. You're going to bend that left knee and that left elbow in and reach. Tapping it in and reach. In and reach. That arm reaches over your head and reach. Trying not to let your hips dip as you tap or reach, keeping them in the same spot. Reach and turning back into plank. Dropping your knees. Child's pose for just a moment. Release through your back. And now coming forward, dropping your hips down. Again, sitting back into child's pose. Roll through your spine, drop your hips to the mat. And pressing back. Coming forward, hips to your mat. Trying to lift the front of your legs off your mat slightly as you come forward. holding it here. Child's pose, and press forward with those hips. This time, tucking your toes under, downward facing dog. Release those toes, and plank position, walking your hands and your feet together. Forward fold, holding it here, bending that right knee, lifting that left arm up high, looking towards those fingertips. Holding this rotation, dropping that hand down, bend the left knee, right arm extends, lifting high, and reaching back to your mat. Extending your legs long, flat back, stand all the way up, arms overhead, palms to heart. Inhale, lift up, bending your elbows, arch, palms to heart. Inhale, lift up, diving it forward, flat back, forward fold. Bending that left knee and your right knee. Now stepping that right foot back and left foot back into your plank. Turning onto the left hand, right arm reaches up high, tapping your knee and your elbow together. So right knee, right elbow, tap, extend, tap, extend, tap, extend. Trying to keep those hips lifted the entire time. Tap, extend, do the best you can here. This is a challenge for that upper body. Turning back to plank, Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog, and press back. Toes tucked, downward facing dog. Release your toes, press your heels down. Coming back to plank, bringing that right knee in, crossing it underneath your left leg, reaching that arm up and over, creating a nice arch effect here from those fingertips all the way down through that left foot. Rotating, coming back into plank. Left leg crosses underneath the right, extending that right arm up and then over to the front of your mat. Nice long lines here. Lifting back up and coming back into plank. Holding here for a moment. Dropping those knees down. Arch the back, look up and round. Arch, look up and round. Just releasing that lower back for a moment. Neutral spine, extend your right leg long. Bringing that knee and your forehead together if you can. Arch and tuck under, extend long. Knee to forehead, extend long. Knee to forehead, extend long. And hold, tucking those left toes, hovering that left knee off the ground. Right knee to forehead, extend. Touch, extend. Touch, extend. Pressing back into your single leg, downward facing dog. Holding it, bending that right knee in, and step through those hands. Holding here for a moment. And stepping that left foot in. Inhale, flat back, lift up. Exhale, palms to heart. Inhale, lift. Forward fold. Breathe. Half lift. Forward fold. Hopping back into plank. Navel pulled in. Dropping those knees down once again. Extending your left leg long. Knee to forehead. Extend. Knee to forehead. Extend. Knee to forehead. Extend. Keeping it going right here. and hold. Tucking those toes underneath you, lifting that knee up off the ground slightly, and bring your left knee to your forehead, extend. Left knee in, extend. Left knee in, extend, and press back into your single leg downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up nice and high, bending your knee and stepping through those hands. Hold for a moment. Step in with your right foot, forward fold. Release through your back and the backs of those legs. Half lift and forward fold again. Stepping back with your right foot and your left foot into plank. Downward facing dog. Plank. Dropping those knees down. Pressing back into child's pose. Crossing that right arm underneath the left, palm faces up. Trying to drop that right shoulder all the way to the mat. Feeling a nice release here in your shoulders. Left arm stays long. Hips press back. Holding and release that right arm. Crossing the left arm under the right. Pressing that shoulder down. Holding it here. And release. Coming up on your knees, pressing your hips back, downward facing dog, and then plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog. Pressing back, downward facing dog, pressing your heels down to the mat. Coming back to your plank, dropping those hips down to the mat if you can. You can bend the elbows here or extend them long depending on your flexibility. Bending your elbows if they're extended, bringing your chest to your mat, and release your forehead down. Extend your right arm long, left arm stays at a 90-degree angle, bending that right knee and crossing it over behind you, trying to reach your toes to the floor. This is a great stretch for your lower back as well as that shoulder. You should feel this in your left shoulder. Making sure that that elbow stays at a 90-degree angle. Just hold this and breathe. Extending long and release, coming back to center. Left arm extends long. Right arm bends to a 90-degree angle. Left knee bends and crossing it over behind your right leg. Holding here. Deep breath. Enjoy that stretch for that right shoulder. Releasing through your lower back. Holding for a moment more. And release, coming back to the center. Bringing those hands, one on top of the other, forehead to the tops, and bringing your feet hips width apart. That right leg's going to lift long and up, down, extending out through your toes, reaching it long as you lift. Don't arch your back, lift up and down, up and hold it, extending both arms long and releasing the foot and the arms down. Extending that left arm and right leg together now. Lift, down, lift, down. Don't arch your back. All the work here is coming from that glute muscle, not your lower back. Lift up and down, lift, down, lift and hold and release. Hands come back onto your forehead, left leg lifts up, 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 extending out, keeping that leg nice and long, reaching through your toes. Lift and down, lift and down, lift, hold, extend both arms out, reaching that right arm and left leg up and out. Lift, down, lift, down, lift, down. Keeping it going. Lift, navel to spine. Lift and hold and release. Bringing your hands to your hips, lifting your legs off the mat, chest off the mat, arms in front of you and to your hips, in front and to your hips, almost like you're swimming here, pushing through the water. Create your own resistance, keeping those legs lifted and your chest lifted. Forward and to your hips and hold, keeping it lifted, and release down. Hands by your shoulders, press back into your child's pose. Forehead to the mat. Release through your lower back here. Give it a nice stretch. You can bring your hands by your hips with your palms facing up. Release through those shoulders a little bit more, if that feels good. And slowly roll all the way up. Coming up on your knees, preparing for camel. Bringing your hands to your lower back, pressing your pelvis forward and dropping your head back. If it's within your practice, go ahead and reach those fingertips to your heels, pressing your pelvis forward, looking all the way up. Holding here for a moment. If this is not within your practice, keep your hands at your lower back. To come out of this, bringing those hands back and releasing your hips down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, palms to heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, palms to heart.